And welcome back to the second episode of what is currently called the Platform Podcast. I'm Mark, co-founder of Platform.
I'm Steve, co-founder of Platform.
So episode 1, we talked about our early years of meeting and then going right through until how we got the doors opened in Platform. Today, we are going to share more about what that journey has looked like from April the 8th, 2017 until today, February 2026. Scary. Makes you feel old that amount of time has passed since this began.
You are old, mate.
I'm not getting into that. I'm not biting. So we rolled back to that very first day in Platform. I can still remember it clear as day because I was fucking knackered.
That was bad that day. I'm probably the tiredest I've ever been in all my life.
The funny thing now looking back was we closed our old unit, gave ourselves a week to then reopen the next unit. Now, we'd been working on that unit for 3 months to get it ready. And we told all the people that we trained at the time, we'll probably get it done Wednesday. So before we open it to public, we'll give you a lot of shout and you get a session in a day or two before we actually open. We finished that unit at 4 a.m., what was Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, 4 a.m. And then we opened the doors for the day one at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So we finished it 5 hours before we opened. And it weren't really finished. It was just that was good enough that we could open, wasn't it?
Yeah, bear in mind that had been the case pretty much every day that week prior to that as well. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning finishes.
Yeah, we had a little trick, didn't we? We'd get people there to help us at 7, 8 o'clock. And then when it got to 10, we'd order pizzas.
Yeah.
It'd take an hour for them to come, so everyone would work for another hour. Then they'd eat. And then because they'd just eaten and we'd supplied them pizza, they didn't want to leave.
What we'd do, as soon as they started eating, we'd start working again.
Yeah. And then people would stay until like 2, 3 a.m. I remember there's a picture in there of my dad. So we've got steel beams in Platform that are painted red. And they were a nightmare to do because it took ages to cut them in.
Yeah.
My dad has the most patience of any man on the planet. And he just took it upon himself to give himself the job of painting them beams. But the cutting in of the beams took forever, didn't it?
Yeah.
And it was, 1:30 in the morning?
So much, honestly, stupid. And we're like...
And you were flagging.
There was a point I went up to Marco and I was like, should we tell your dad to go home? He was fuck that, he's enjoyed himself.
Like, he's going to get that beam done, let him carry on. So we ended up staying again till like 3 a.m. while my dad carried on painting. Crazy. But we then opened day one, and day one was great. We had loads of friends, family, the people that we trained at the other unit. Funny, people walked in and said words. This feels like an actual gym. What do you think we've been fucking doing for the last 3 months?
Yeah,
I don't take this wrong, but it feels a proper place. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to say that wrong.
Yeah. So day one we opened, and if I remember rightly, it was a bit of come and do what you want. And I think we run like 2 classes, didn't we, on day one?
Did we run classes?
We definitely did. There's a picture of them. It might have just been 1 class.
Yeah.
And do you know what's mad as well? Do you know who run that class?
No. Was right there.
Joe Whip, JBW Construction.
Mad. Shout out JBW Construction. He's actually just had his first boxing fight. I helped him through that as well, so that was nice. But yeah, that's mad. That's my cousin, Joseph Broseph, who, wanted to have a stint at being a PT as well at the time, kind of got his qualification, come working for us for a couple of months, and then decided to set himself up in the building trade, and he's doing incredibly well. So, fair play to him.
So, that was a long time ago, but we ran that first session. We had people come. We did the same Saturday, Sunday then, didn't we? We were open Saturday, Sunday. And I think it was open probably 9-4 or 9-3 or something like that. And then you got to Monday and the real work began, didn't it? It was time to build a business and train people.
Literally that's where obviously we had actual people coming in. We already had a group of members that we had prior to that.
I think we had somewhere between 30 and 40 members, didn't we, at that point? People that we came across with us.
Yeah. We used to kind of have more of a PT-based membership, but we also had this a class-only membership, which was, obviously you got access to 1 class a night. It was £20 a month. It was a bit mad. But how times have changed is nuts. But so I'd say around 30, 40 members. Obviously, that first week felt fairly busy because everyone wanted to come and see the new place. Everyone wanted to jump into what he felt like doing a session there as opposed to the old unit. See us in the gym and stuff as well. But a bit mad that week, to be honest. It all feels like a huge blur now. And to be honest, Marco said once already, how it worked in that first year, I have no idea. There was no booking system. We had no idea who was turning up, when they was turning up, if people was going to actually walk through our door. It could have been 30 people all turning up at the same time that we probably wouldn't have been able to train. Thankfully, they come semi-sporadically. But mad, mate.
Yeah, it's crazy. You could turn up at any time you wanted, do the session that we printed out for you.
Yeah.
The systems were non-existent, weren't they? And the systems that we then tried to create were very poor because we didn't know what we was doing. When I think back through 2017 to 2018, we'll both agree that 2018 was the turning point. That was when we became real business owners, and we can share why. But I think up to that point, 2017, for me, it was a blur of us just caring, just giving a fuck about the person in front of us. And that just meant that people kept coming, kept telling their friends, more people kept coming. And we just grew really hard through 2017 to 2018.
Yeah.
The turning point then was we got to about February of 2018, and we had a conversation where Steve, incredibly selflessly, we sat down and Steve said, we did a meeting every Saturday morning. In that meeting, he said, I think the business has grown enough that one of us can go full time, and I don't think both of us can do it. I think one of us has to do it, and I think it should be you. And I remember sitting there, wow, that's incredibly selfless, because I had it in my head that we'd get to the business to the point where we both could go full time, and then we would. And Steve was, if you do it first, we'll get there faster. So I was happy to take that. Felt like an incredible burden that I was now responsible for making you full time.
Yeah.
But it was 4 months on it then, between April and August. So what happened then was I left my previous employment. I went full time to platform, and I started opening Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. And then was back in the evenings every night, till 6 till 10. We did that for 4 months, and the business continued to grow.
Yeah.
And it got to August of 2018. And the business had grown enough that then you could go full time as well.
Yeah.
And then at that point, we started splitting the mornings between us, and we were open initially 7 days a week, weren't it? So we opened every morning and every evening, and then Saturday and Sunday. But what happened shortly after us opening mornings and evenings is Sundays just become non-existent. We'd open for 6 hours, and 2 people would come, if that.
Yeah.
And we realized that because we was offering enough now Monday to Saturday, people weren't interested in training the Sunday. So we closed the Sunday and then just focused on delivering Monday to Saturday. And it grew from there, didn't it? 2018. The big turning point there, then, I'll let you jump in a sec, sorry, Steve. The 2 turning points was that us both getting to full time and then joining what was then called the IFBA.
Yeah. Which is a massive game changer for us.
Jean-Claude Vercassin, shout him out. He completely changed our lives. And that was when we went from coaches that cared, that grew a business purely because they cared, to coaches who became somewhat decent business owners.
Yeah. I think we realized at that point that 2017 was the, Marco said, we cared. It was probably more us having fun with what we could in that kind of environment. We didn't really have anything to lose. We both still had jobs. It wasn't...
You say that, but we'd signed a 6-year lease.
Yeah, we had, but it was a little bit... There was no air of this could go wrong, or there was no thought process where we thought, what if this doesn't work? It was just like... We just threw ourselves in. Like, that was just never a thing in our head. There was a lot of kind of conversations and dreams about what it is now. That we still laugh a lot of the time, because if we ever stood in the social area together, we always look... We stood at the top of that, kind of in that same spot when it was just a derelict building, and said, there'll be a gym there one day, mate. And then there was a gym there, and then we said, we'll be training people there one day. And then it was, we'll have other coaches down there at one point training people, and we'll just stood up here. So we always kind of laugh at that, and we'll stand there sometimes and just look and go, there'll be a gym there one day, mate. And it's funny, but it just felt a little bit carefree, a little bit. We had no idea what we was doing. We just threw ourselves into it. We just wanted to coach people. We just wanted to help people. And we had fun doing it. And that was a big thing as well. Like Mark said, 2018 come round. That conversation, actually, when it started, my main goal at that point was to get full time for, obviously I already had children at that point. My eldest, Alec, at the time was going into school in the September. And I said to Mark, I want to be full time for when he goes to school. If we wait and we both try and get full time together, we wait till there's enough money, we don't have enough hours and manpower to actually get there probably in the time we need. One of us needs to. It made more sense for it to be Marco at that time, just from the positions we was in with work, home life, stuff like that. So yeah, we did it. And then obviously Marco said August bank holiday weekend, just before Alec went to school. That was, I went full time. And that's where it was, right, we need to become a serious business. This is now our livelihood. This is actually what pays our wage now. Like, we had these visions then of what it could be, and it had started taking shape into an actual business. You can shout out JC massively, but I think there's a lot of different areas in that as well. I mean, you could go down the LTB route, Chris Burgess route. There's so many kind of decent people we come across. Suxidu, OFB, Mike Samuels. Yeah. Just loads of decent, genuine people in the industry that we started realizing that, hey, if we can speak to these guys and we can pay these some money to teach us these things, we can get where we want to get to so much quicker.
And I think looking back on that period, all we did was the business grew. We took a very small amount from me and you that was literally the minimum that we could take in order to not die.
Yeah.
And then every other bit of money went into buying new equipment and investing in skills, mentorships in different areas of marketing, of copywriting, of how to deliver a service, how to run a business, how to be a coach, all those areas. And that was the turning point, weren't it, then, from getting the business to a point where we could be full-time and have some money that we could then improve our skill sets.
Yeah.
And identifying the fact that we are good as coaches, not to say we can't get better and not to say we should now stop trying to be better coaches, but we got to a point where our skill level with coaching was there and our skill set for everything else essentially that was business related was far below that.
Yeah.
And as a collective of the business to get better, we had to improve our ability everywhere else, because we found that we had a lot of people coming through the doors and no system to train them properly, no system to track how they're getting on, no system for support. And so we realized that we could get people through the doors, and when they were there, we could train them, but there wasn't enough wrapped around it to make sure that it wasn't chaos every single time we opened the
I
doors.
think the other thing was as well, there was a huge cap up. We had Lee Newburn here at the time as well. Then he was honestly great. If you ever got trained by Lee, you'll know he's still obviously in the industry now. He's doing well himself. And we wanted to employ him. We wanted to do that, but the way our business was set up, the systems, we could just not foresee a way that we would ever be able to do that, which is mad looking back. But that was the kind of cap of knowledge that we had. It wasn't, let's get better at coaches and that will work. The systems we had in place just would never, ever be able to actually do that. And given money in the way that we had no booking system, the way we didn't know how and when people was coming, if people was paying month to month, what happens if people just
no payment systems,
nothing.
just hope people would pay every month.
So it just seemed impossible to give him what he actually wanted and needed and what he deserved as a coach at the time. So yeah, we just delved into that area, didn't we, of trying how to run a business, what do we need to do next? And
so it was May 2018. We signed up April 2018. We went to the first meetup May 2018.
Yeah.
And we walked into this room of business owners where I think that month the business made about £5,000, something like that, in May 2018.
Yeah.
It was a small amount of money. We weren't VAT registered.
We pulled up in a little Kia Venga
into this car park that was full of Porsches,
Mustangs, all sorts.
There was a bright blue Mustang, weren't there? It was next to it. Anyway, so we walked in this room, we went into this meetup, and we're sat in, we'd never met any of these people before, we'd just seen a few of them online. Sat there, we get chatting to people in the tables that we're in, and there's people in this room who are doing 30 grand a month, 40 grand a month, 50 grand a month. The guy who was running the day, I think the guy who ran the mentorship at the time was about 100 grand a month. Yeah. And the guy who was running the day was doing about $250,000 a month, towards $500,000 a month. He was actually one of the fastest growing businesses in America. He had a gym similar to Platform in New York. And we just walked out of that room. At that point, we felt we were good at what we did, but we needed to get better. And we walked out, we are diabolically shit. Everything we do is wrong, and every part of this business needs to improve. And we got this amazing piece of advice, which was that the business will feel a screaming baby and it's never going to stop. But write your list of things you need to improve. Just make sure one thing is improving, and one day the baby stops screaming. And there was a journey then, weren't there, from April 2018, May 2018, through to probably mid 2019, end of 2019, where it was like baby stopped screaming.
Yeah, I'd say so. We went through, obviously we got to the stage there, when, even space wise, where the first unit that we'd actually done and started was full. So we eventually renovated the top floor throughout that time frame, much slower way than we did the main floor. So yeah, we'd expanded again. We've got a handle on the top floor then. We had booking systems and payment systems in place, and everything just slowly started to take shape and start to feel like business. We felt we had a bit more of a handle on that, how everything worked. And then, yeah, probably the end of 19, and that's where we was kind of planning. We did a full rip out right at the start of 2020, didn't we?
Yeah, so we
made PT floor.
Yeah, we opened the top floor March 2019, and then we continued to grow the business at that point, didn't we? So we got to the end of 2019, and the top floor was immaculate. It looked so good, and the bottom floor wasn't matching the standard of what we wanted to do. So we then ripped out that bottom floor. If I remember rightly, we ordered all the equipment the last week of November, first week of December, and because of the Christmas, it comes from Ireland. The equipment, the lead time meant that it landed on the first when we reopened in January.
Yeah, we won it. It was open ideally for it to be between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, so we could close the gym for a week and do all the reset. We couldn't anyway, so we reopened 2 or 3 days. We did loads of changes, didn't we then? So we repainted the place, we got all new lighting, we got everything ready for the point of getting equipment in. And then we shut 3 days, didn't we, where we ripped out everything. Literally, the gym floor got pulled back to literally bare floor and paintwork. And then everything got refit, brand new flooring, brand new racks, all custom racks as well with the platform logos on them, all equipment that was all matching for the first time and was the state-of-the-art top-end equipment from what we had previously. Cost us an absolute arm and a leg, but was so worth that investment. And we had a crazy 3 days of doing it, didn't we, where members just kept dropping in to help us. They'd come and spend
random.
like
This
3 or
is what
4
we're going
hours
to be
with us.
doing. If you've got any time you want to call in, feel free to help. Some of them would come at 8, 9 in the morning when we got there. And do you not have anywhere else to be?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
People were turning up with their own tools
Yeah.
and they're helping us build stuff. And we just had a lot of fun doing it, really. It was, again, incredibly tiring. And if I'm rightly, I pulled my back doing it, carrying everything in because,
Yeah, but sounds about right.
hey, don't you
It's anything
start.
to fucking
Don't
get
you
out of half an
start.
hour.
You cracked your neck carrying them flooring.
Still carrying them in, mate.
Not
Don't
how I remember it.
remember complaining about it.
And then we reopened. Then I think it was like Friday night. I think we might have closed on like Tuesday, reopened it Friday.
Yeah.
And then Saturday morning was the first day of the new. And I remember at that point thinking, the business no longer feels I have to do everything all the time. My life is on fire. For the first time, it feels somewhat will operate itself.
Yeah.
Things will happen without me pushing as hard as I can every single minute of being awake. And then COVID happened.
Yeah, we literally also in that time frame between doing that full renovation and COVID, decided to shake hands with our landlord on the unit downstairs, which we're now sat in, because it gave us access to the car park. It made it much more feasible. We'd had a few parking issues as well with the members being on roadside and stuff like that. So yeah, it gave us access to the car park. Access around the back was amazing. Let's do it. We shook his hand. We got
February 2020,
everything
probably.
in place, end of Feb, yeah. And then literally 3-4 weeks later, it was breaking news. Yeah, and that was COVID. I was on the gym floor. I'd seen a missed call off Marco. I'd seen a text pop through off Marco, but I'm just like busy coaching. I'm not really too sure what's going on. And then members are coming in and, I'm so sad. You're going to have to shut tomorrow, right? Yeah. And I'm like, what? What's going on? Yeah, Friday evening. And then seeing Mark's message, I spoke to Mark on the phone and I was just, fuck. So yeah, everyone's still come in that night. Everyone's still got a session done. What can you do in that situation? It was just, I have no idea. I just had to be open and honest with all the team. Look, don't worry. Whatever happens, we will work something out. We'll support you best we can. Let's just enjoy this next hour as much as we can and smash this session. And that's what we did. We'd met up that night. On the next morning, we planned everything out what we wanted to do. And by the Monday after, 90% of the members had a piece of equipment at their house. We'd already had Zoom set up on the laptops and was pretty much ready to go coaching people online. So yeah, wild time that obviously followed thereafter.
Yeah, it meant that we went from this amazing first nearly 3 years, 2 years, 10 months or something when COVID hit, where we went from loads of energy but didn't know what to do to loads of energy, kind of had a better idea what to do, to finally completely renovated all of the gym, all of the equipment, all the little bits that we needed to make the service what we wanted to make it were there. And it didn't feel we had to push every single waking minute to make it happen. And there was a bit of money in the bank as well. I remember it was like the first time we ever put money in the bank. And then COVID happened and it just, my sales were just completely depleted. And I remember that being the most challenging 18 to 20 months of my life. For lots of reasons, but COVID just killed my energy. And I tried as I might to get through that period and be positive, but I just kept I'd be positive and bang, something else would happen. I'd be positive, bang, something else would happen. And ultimately, I ended up having therapy for everything we went through. I think what that caused inside the business, though, was that plans that we thought would happen in the following 1, 2, 3 years after COVID, between 20 and 22, 23, they kind of half happened where we weren't used to that, where we were used to, we opened a floor, bang, we went at it, and then that floor became incredible. When we added this floor, which we then re-shook hands on in October 20 and probably actually got it renovated and opened by March, April of 21.
Yeah, I think actually running it as a unit, we had bits going prior to that because Chelsea Activate was in here, weren't she, prior to that? We literally in that room as quick as we could and she could get people in.
I think it was, though, a case of we started works, we went into another lockdown, we had to stop works, then we had to start works again. Some of the tradespeople changed because now they were on a different job and there was a lot of stop-start, and it meant that ultimately it was probably 18 months after we actually signed the lease on the unit and started paying for the unit before we actually started using the unit.
Even when we did it, because the other thing was as well, was in a period where we'd been growing and growing and growing, that growth was consistently there. We took this unit on knowing that we will continue growing and get to that stage. COVID obviously hit. A lot of people, we did extremely well because we transitioned quick and we retained a lot of our members. But obviously some people lost jobs. Some people had other stuff go on, and when we was reopening, just couldn't keep coming for whatever reason. Circumstances have just changed massively for so many people. So that member number then dropped pretty significantly. We've then got all this extra space, but not really enough people in the building to fill it. So we're then trying to grow, we're then trying to push, we had a full team at that point as well that we managed to keep on and pay throughout the whole period. It was just a wild time. And obviously I think as well, we was big part of platforms, the community, the events, what we did really, really well.
Yeah.
For that to then switch to, let's do a virtual pub quiz on Friday.
Yeah.
It was just not it felt really alien. We had this beautiful gym floor that we had just fully renovated. We were so proud of. And we was walking in and it just felt eerie.
Yeah.
There was no atmosphere in the gym. I've got one laptop in front of me. There was one coaching here at a time. And I'm coaching people on Zoom.
Yeah. I think
Just odd.
part of what hurt me emotionally, if you will, was that for me, the social connection's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And that in-person interaction. And I felt a fraud by delivering it on Zoom, but it was a contradiction of I couldn't do it any other way.
Yeah.
The option was they got no support or online Zoom support.
Yeah.
But it didn't sit with my beliefs of how I feel training should happen.
Yeah.
And so I really struggled with that. It was the only thing we could do, but it didn't align with the way that I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I think more than anything, COVID showed us that in-person PT will never die because of that social in-person interaction.
Yeah. That brick and mortar feeling, that community feel. I think if anything now, I think COVID's shown us that it's needed more than ever. I think more people are working at home.
And more people became health conscious and health aware.
More people become health conscious and health aware. More people now don't go in the office, and more people now kind of lost connections for other things. It shows you where you get that how important connection is as well. I mean, look at the amount of people that really struggled throughout that time where they'd lost that. And yeah, it's. I think we're both at a stage now where we want to really this year hit the ground running with that. And
I think that's it.
It's been a bit of a journey over the last few years to get back to that stage.
I think this conversation we're having now, we've had this already in terms of what has happened in the last 9 years, and I think we've not realised, we've seen reflectively that what the first 2 and bit years until COVID was, what that period of COVID and stop-starts, stop-spurt, literally felt like a car that was sputtering along the road.
Yeah.
I think we've felt the engine revving back up, and I think that through that period where all that's happened, we've really developed things in the service. The floor that we're now in is fully kitted out now. There's minor touch points that we're looking to change, and I think that we're now starting a process in 2026 where we've got the 3 floors. Yeah. We understand how to utilize them best. We've got a great team. We understand how to work with a team much better than we did 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've got plans that align with what we want to do in this space, whereas the mindset behind how we used to grow the business and how we used to approach goal setting and so on has had to change because the reality of the world has changed. 2026 now, as we're looking at that going forwards, it feels to me it did in 2018, in 2019, and at the start of 2020. The goals feel ambitious but exciting. And I think the team obviously we've shared them plans with the team and they know what we're going at this year. They feel excited for it as well. And the little tweaks, the changes, the upgrades we're making to the site this year, I think some of that has stalled because we did so much upgrades. What do we do now? But we've really come up with some amazing ideas, I think, this year for what we're going to do. And I'm so excited by this year. And to be honest, we're in February now. We've had 1 month of it. If that's an indicator of what's to come, it makes me very excited.
Yeah, I think January's been the start of many small changes, some behind the scenes that not necessarily front facing, some little bits and bats here and there that are front facing that the members can see. But yeah, it does. I feel it finally feels it's got that bit of spark back, or at least I do within myself. Maybe
I think that's
probably
it.
a fairer reflection.
I think that's right. I don't think it's the platform lost its spark. It's that we did.
Yeah, and
we've been through a lot of life things, haven't we?
A lot of life things in that time. We're very different people to who we was when we was 24, 25 when we opened the business. And yeah, I guess finding us what we want through that process as well has been a difficult thing for us to keep that aligned, to make sure we both want the same things, to build a team that want the same things that we want. And I think Marco nailed it a little before when he said about it changed so much with COVID, kind of what we could and couldn't do. And then we have had these ideas that we could do. We wanted to throw them in place. Then we'd get stopped again our tracks again by COVID. A lot of stuff fell out of our control and out of our hands. And we made decisions that probably reflected that as well, where it got to the stage where that had probably knocked us down to a point of is it even worth throwing these ideas in place again? Is it worth actually throwing 100% into these and chasing us, or are we just going to get it taken away from us again? It took a while to get back there, I think, if we're being brutally honest. But it feels like it's back and it's good and it's exciting. And I'm ready to just fully immerse myself and involve myself in everything platform again and take it to where it wants to get to. And I feel Marco's the same.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I say I very much feel year one the platform again, and that's an exciting place to be.
It is indeed. Do we need to build on that, or can we wrap it up there and save some podcast free?
Yeah, no, I think we can say that podcast free. I think we've tried to do this unscripted and throw our hearts out there, just have a topic that we speak about, and podcast free, we're going to go more into why we feel that gyms don't change people's lives and why we think the platform does. And I think that also is a good opportunity to talk about some of the events that we've thrown in the last 9 years of doing this.
I feel that's fair. It will save that for episode. I'm sorry to do this to you again, but yeah, it's just good to share our journey. It's raw, it's unscripted, it's just us speaking and talking to you. If there's anything that you feel you can improve, anything you feel you want to hear more about, of course the parties, I'll make sure they're in the next one. Some of you know about them anyway. And yeah, we'll throw some funny stories in there along the way, and we'll try and make it a little bit more specific in terms of our ethos to training as well, and kind of why we feel that works and why we feel more people need that. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. Please drop us a comment if you've got any questions. Obviously, subscribe if you want to hear more of us talking waffle, talking about gyms. Please do so.
Thank you very much. We'll see you in episode 3.
See you in episode 3.